Her kiss burned him before battle, as though she wanted to sear her memory into his soul before steel and fire tore the world apart. The battlefield lay silent around them, not yet alive with screams, and her lips carried both passion and sorrow, a storm in disguise. He felt the heat of her touch, the truth of her trembling. But then her whisper followed, soft as falling ash, colder than the night air itself, forgive me for what I'll do after." The words shattered him more than any blade could. Darius had seen wars, had seen comrades burned alive and enemies shattered under the iron of his hand. But no enemy had ever undone him the way her whisper had. She was an alien princess, born from the bloodline of the alien queen, who had enslaved his people, heir to the alien king whose banners painted the stars in conquest. She was everything he had been taught to hate, everything his blade had been sharpened to destroy. And yet, she was also the only one who had ever looked at him not as a weapon but as a man. The armies waited in the valley below, banners rising like waves, war drums ready to thunder. The alien king's fleet hovered above, each ship a promise of annihilation, while the human death worlder veterans, the few who still remained, stood ragged, battered but unbroken. Darius had lived too long, fought too many wars. He had bought his survival with blood and scars, and when he came to this place, to this abandoned alien base, he thought it would be where his story ended. He thought he would die alone, nameless, his ashes swallowed by alien winds. But she found him. The alien princess, cloaked in silver light, who dared to defy her mother's cruelty and her father's hunger for power. She lied for him when the alien queen sought his execution. She swore to her court he was a prisoner, when he was her ally. She wove webs of lies thick enough to confuse even the alien king, whose eyes missed little. She told him once that lies were a kind of shield, and though Darius never trusted shields, he trusted her. Or he wanted to. But tonight, her kiss, her whisper, made him wonder if even that trust was another illusion. When dawn broke, the valley trembled. The alien king appeared in his war chariot, clad in obsidian armor that gleamed with the blood of conquered worlds. The alien queen, cold and magnificent, stood beside him, her gaze cutting sharper than any blade. Their voices roared over the assembled armies, promising victory, promising the death of all who resisted. And then, like a star falling to earth, she appeared. The alien princess, daughter of destruction, heir to a crown drenched in blood. But instead of raising her banner with theirs, she stepped forward, her silver cloak blazing, and raised her hand not to her parents, but to Darius. The valley fell into silence, the kind of silence that comes only when destiny itself holds its breath. "My heart," she said, her voice carrying across the valley, "chooses him." A murmur rippled through the alien legions, disbelief turning to fury. The alien queen's face twisted in rage, the alien king's eyes burned with betrayal. And Darius stood frozen, the memory of her whisper still echoing in his chest, "Forgive me for what I'll do after." Then the battle began. The alien fleets above opened fire, the ground splitting with burning plasma. Death Worlder cannons roared back, hurling defiance into the heavens. The valley erupted in fire, screams, and steel. Darius charged, his blade blazing with stolen alien power, cutting through armor and bone alike. Around him, his soldiers fought like demons, the last fury of a dying race unleashed. And she fought at his side. The alien princess, moving with grace like lightning, her spear shattering shields, her eyes never leaving his. Together they carved a path through chaos, two warriors bound by something deeper than loyalty, deeper even than love. For a moment he believed her. He believed that her choice was real, that her kiss had meant what he hoped it did. But then came the lie. When the alien king fell before Darius's blade, roaring in disbelief as the Death Worlder steel pierced his heart, she screamed, not in grief but in command. Her voice carried over the armies, "The king is dead, bow to your queen." And in that instant, the truth struck him like thunder. She had never chosen him. She had chosen power. Her kiss, her whisper, her lies, they had been weapons sharper than any blade. She had used him to break the king, to steal a throne soaked in blood. The alien armies fell to their knees, bowing to her, the new queen. The Death World of veterans, battered and dying, looked to Darius for orders. His heart clenched, torn between love and fury, between the fire of her kiss and the ice of her betrayal. She turned to him then, her eyes soft, her voice trembling with something he could not name. "Forgive me," she whispered again. It had to be this way. His hand tightened on his blade. He could end her there. He could strike down the queen, shatter the lies, avenge the betrayal. But when he looked at her, he did not see a queen. He saw the woman who had stood by his side in fire, the woman whose kiss still burned his lips, the woman who had whispered a plea before the dawn. Slowly, he lowered his blade. "You win," he said, his voice hollow. "But not all victories are worth the cost." He turned from her then, walking away from the throne, from the battlefield, from the armies that knelt in the ashes. Behind him, she stood crowned in fire and sorrow, a queen who had lied, a queen who had loved, a queen who had destroyed him more completely than war ever could. And as he walked into the ruins of the world, her whisper followed him, carried on the wind, haunting him forever, "Forgive me for what I'll do after." For the rest of his life he never could. Sparkles. The story closes on heartbreak, betrayal, and power, an HFY tone where the human veteran survives, but carries the weight of love twisted into tragedy. Her kiss remains a scar, her whisper an eternal echo.